Welcome to the show, everybody. Today, I'm fulfilling a special request by taking a quick look at the original off-Broadway cast album of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown from 1967 on MGM Records. Now, before I get started, I just want to make one thing very clear. I'm not reviewing the musical. I'm only reviewing the soundtrack. I happen to enjoy the musical. In fact, I even played Pigpen in my junior high production back in 1994. Oh, I remember it fondly as I got to make my own costume by taking an old t-shirt and gluing on dryer lint and rubbing it on the ground and putting marker pen all over it. Yeah, I think I still have it somewhere laying around. It's right here. Look at that. Look at that. I think this is probably the first costume I ever made, and that's why I hung on to it after, 20 years? So this is the reason I love to make costumes, right here. And to a lesser extent, it's why I love shopping at thrift stores. And thrift stores are a big place of where I buy all my vinyl, so ergo, this shirt is directly responsible for me being a vinyl geek. In fact, I took my role so seriously that before my first performance, I made mud. Actual mud. In the backyard, and I smeared it all over my face like some sort of rite of passage. And while I thought it looked so cool, by the time I was on stage, not only had it dried completely, it was starting to suck the moisture out of my face. I think the funniest part is that I completely missed getting it on my ears. Now, before I go on, I want to share something with you that's very near and dear to my heart. I feel like over the course of all these episodes, we've become really good friends, and that's why I feel comfortable showing you this clip. This is my one and only line from the whole musical, and it got the most laughs, I might add. Enjoy.
You'd make a great bench manager, Charlie Brown. You could say bench to this or bench to that. You could put the bench. And when we get to the playing field, you could say, let's put the bench here. Let's put the bench there.
Wow, that gets me every time. Wow, that's probably one of my best performances ever. And did you see my dad's camera work? Flawless. It's better than anything Scorsese has done in the last 10 years, I'm telling you. And I really appreciate you guys watching that. I feel so much closer to you. In fact, I might be right behind you right now. Don't turn around. Don't ruin the moment. Just go with it. Let it happen. So the point I'm trying to make is I have a lot of nostalgic attachment to this musical, and I was disappointed when I finally sat down and listened to this album. For starters, the presentation. They basically made an album cover from the show poster, added a cast photo to the back with a comic above it. But you know what's really annoying? There's no track listing. Sure, if you bought a copy new, it came with a program that features some info on the show and the songs, but if you lost that, and you will because it's so darn small, you're screwed. You better get good at reading track names as the record springs by. On a side note, I find it really strange that they didn't just dress like the Peanuts character. I mean, how hard is it to do a little zigzag on a t-shirt? Seriously, folks. I'm sure they had their reasons, but I couldn't find any, so let me know if you guys know. The main thing this soundtrack suffers from is that the songs don't always stand on their own. As you know, musicals are a visual medium as much as they are auditory, and when you take out the visual element, you better hope your music pops. The Linus song, My Blanket and Me, is a great example of this, as there are these long instrumental passages between singing. I know there must be some sort of choreography going on at this point. I'm sure that worked for live performances, but it's just kind of boring to listen to. To make matters worse, the recording quality is not very good. There are moments when the singers sound like they're off mic, like they turn their head while singing. Overall, it sounds tinny, the dynamics feel off. It basically sounds like they set up some mics on the stage and hit record. What's funny is that they did in fact record this album in the studio. You see, the original release was a recording of a live performance, but when the cast heard it, they were disappointed and requested to record it again, this time in the studio, making that first release rare to come by. But honestly, if they thought this sounded better, I'd hate to hear what the original sounded like. You know what, folks? Sometimes things just need a chance to mature, ripen with age, as in the case with this album. It's like a really cheap bottle of wine. It's better than grape juice, but it's just a cheap bottle of wine. Lastly, the stereo mix is just horrible to listen to, as all the vocals are on one side or the other, and the music is in the middle. Sometimes it works when two people are talking or singing. One person is on the left while the other is on the right. It does give a sense of space, but the rest of the time the mix just feels unbalanced. Let me tell you, if you're expecting the familiar Peanuts charm from the cartoon specials, you'll be severely disappointed. I say check out the 1966 album of the same name, which actually inspired the live-action musical. There you get most of the same songs with the much higher production value, better stereo mix, and even features some of the same actors. Trust me, you'll be much happier. I can only recommend this album for hardcore fans of the musical. Peanuts fans, take it for the time capsule that it is. Well, that is all the time I have for you. Thanks again for watching. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Oh, you too. I'll catch you too. Actually, what are you doing later? Yeah? Well, I'm just gonna be chilling here. So the guy who choreographed my junior high production was named Benjamin. Not Benjamin, no, that would be too commonplace. No, his name was Benjamin. And he was quite the tie-dyed character. He's directly responsible for my knowledge of jazz hands, and I will never forget him. Well, actually, I just did until I remembered him right at this moment, so I guess that was a lie.